Oh, I feel like this hairstyle only really works on me when I'm at the beach. But that is not the point. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to follow another tutorial from a celebrity makeup artist. The celebrity makeup artist in question today is Heidlas, who I love and adore. I have followed one of Heidlas's tutorials before, but this is a different look. I've gone for his latte makeup look, which just looks stunning on his model. But as always with these videos, I'm going to be taking his techniques and putting them on my face and seeing how it ends up. Heidlas, transform me. And today's video is actually sponsored by one of my favourite brush brands, Refer, who I've used their brushes for the past few years now. I have featured these in various favourites videos. I've featured them in my favourite brushes, just generally video. These brushes that I have in my hand, these are the ones that I've been using for the past couple years, and these are some new ones to play with, so I will be using these throughout the video for my makeup. I also have the new collaboration brush with Alexandra Anel, which I'm very excited to try, because apparently this can be used for loads of different things on your face. These are just some of my favourite makeup brushes that I've ever tried. I've tried many over the years, and these, not only because they're really good quality, but also because the actual shapes of the makeup brushes are really well thought out. Like for example, these two brushes, which are the number 14 and the number 13, are such tiny little crease brushes, which are so good for getting detail, which a lot of brands are lacking. And these are the actual brushes that I've used for the past few years. I have just given them a little clean. And this brush, for example, the 03, is such a tiny little pencil brush. I use this quite often for doing a little smoky wing, for under your eyes, for your inner corners. You could use it down your nose for a really detailed little highlight. And given that I've used them so much, they are in such good condition still. The 02 brush I use all the time for packing on shimmers because it's a little dense flat brush that's quite thin, so it really picks up shimmers well to pack them on your eyelid. Their brushes are handcrafted in Japan and they are more on the pricey side. However, something that I love about the brand in general is they have a concept store, and in their concept store they will heavily discount their products. I think it's by 40% as long as you give your honest feedback within 60 days, and then from that feedback they then learn and adapt their brushes and improve them, which I think is a genius way of doing business. So this is the Precision Eye Brush Set, which are some of my favourite brushes, so you can get them as a little bundle, and this is available in the concept store. This little detailer that comes in here, which is the 23 brush, is even more tiny and even more precise. And then the other brushes I spoke about, this is from the Core Eye Set, which again is also in the concept store. So these are the full brushes that you get in that set. They do also make face brushes. These two in particular I use all the time. This one is living in my handbag because it's such a good little multi-purpose brush. Same with this brush actually, which is the 05. This one is the 04. This is one of my favourite powder brushes. It is just so soft. It's multi-purpose again. Could use it for bronzer, could use it for blush. Or if you really want to get the job quickly, the 22 brush is huge and covers a lot of surface area. And yeah, I was excited that they wanted to work with me because I use their brushes all the time. I use them on my wedding day. So if any of you are interested, I will leave a link down below. Okay, Heidlas, take it away. I'll put them on the screen here.
I'm back with this toasty nude makeup look that's going to look incredibly stunning.
His voice is just so relaxing.
I'm starting off with my color fluid in the shade Carve, mixed in with the liquid highlighter. I've been doing this a lot with my color fluids lately, and they give the skin this incredible lit from within glow and color.
I haven't seen that technique before. He's mixing in, I don't know if it's a liquid bronzer or a liquid eyeshadow or both, but he's mixing it in with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, which is kind of smart. I just not thought to do that before. I have the Flawless Filter. I don't have the exact cream eyeshadow bronzer that he's using, so I'm gonna make it work. I'm using the shades Hollow There and Shady Business from the Made by Mitchell blushes, blush bronzed. I'm just gonna use this little mirror as my palette. So let's take a blob of that. I know he's just doing this because he's a makeup artist and I could probably just do it straight on my face, but I want to follow all his techniques. And then let's do a blob of this slightly warmer shade. I'm going to use the 05 brush for this. Wait, we need a blob of this as well. Okay.
Almost like a glowy tinted bronzer. So after I evenly coat the brush with a thin layer, I'm starting to bronze the forehead. I'm using a dense fluffy brush to really buff this in. You can easily blend this in with your hands. Think of this as if you're applying a tinted moisturizer.
Wait, hang on. He's not just doing the perimeters of the face. He's doing the whole face. That does actually look really nice on my forehead. I don't know why I went straight in with the cheek. I hope he does the cheeks.
Really enhancing your skin tone. You can mix my color fluids with your foundation, moisturizer, or any fluid product.
So he seems to focus this on the cheeks, and then he did a little bit kind of on the jawline. The thing is with these makeup artists, whenever they're demonstrating makeup, they never consider the fact that people might have anything that they want to cover, like acne or pigmentation.
Next, I'm going in with concealer, buffing this in with a dense brush.
For this, I'm going to use the 04 brush. And I do have this concealer. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer in Fair 4.5.
I'm not using foundation for this look because she doesn't need it. And I want the skin to have an effortless summer glow. So with that dense brush, I'm going to tap and buff the concealer into the skin, forming a very thin layer of coverage. And I'm concentrating this on the areas that I would normally highlight in the skin. So on the jawline, around the mouth and chin, and around the nose.
He's tapping and sort of stippling in that concealer. And he did actually mention thicker layers for any breakouts.
This also accentuates the nose beautifully by reverse contouring, targeting any breakouts by applying a thicker layer.
Let's go there, let's go here.
Stipple and pat this in, so you don't really move that coverage around. And buffing this in between the brows and the center of the forehead lightly.
For my under eyes, I'm going to switch to the 01 brush just to get a bit more precise.
And when I get to the eyes, I'm targeting the outer corners, basically creating a guide to where I want that eye lift with the eyeshadow. And then going in the very inner corners of the eyes.
That is really smart. Creating a guide where he wants the eye lift with the eyeshadow. So kind of highlighting that area and then the very inner corners. And then I think just like blending the space in between. He also said that he kind of reverse contoured the nose. So far, very different techniques to what I normally do, but I think it's looking good.
When I'm done with this placement, I can take the larger brush and blend this in further by diffusing those edges. I don't want to completely take them away, so just enough for the edges to blur into the skin. Going back to the corners of the eyes and tapping this in with my finger.
I'm excited for this step.
For blush, I'm using a shimmery rose pink blush. Applying this on the cheekbones and blending this in using the same brush method I did with the concealer.
That was a lot. I wasn't actually quite expecting that much to come out.
Concentrating the color on the center of the cheeks and letting the edges diffuse beautifully. Keeping in mind that this is a glowy blush, I want the placement to really reflect where I want the highlighter to be as well.
I didn't even know you could get this much pigment with the Pink Guys and blush. I've put on way too much here. I'm just gonna go back to my concealer brush and just diffuse that out. And he kind of actually does put this all over the cheek, just to gently tap, and he said circular motions on the apples of the cheeks.
When I get closer to the apples of the cheeks, I'm moving the brush around in circular tapping motions.
He brings it a little bit lower down than I usually would, as in like onto the, almost like where he did the bronzer. That looks stunning.
You can see how beautifully glowy her cheeks look. A touch down the nose.
Oh, yes!
And repeating the same steps on the other side.
Oh, thank you, Heidlas, for the nose blush. That's my favourite. Okay, maybe I want a bit much, but I am so glowy. I'm loving this. Now what? Because I've squeezed way too much out of that and I can't get it to go back in. I know that it twists, but I can't even twist it because it's covered in the product already and I can't get it to go back in. Oh, what have I done?
This 3-step method is definitely going to be something I'll be repeating over and over again because it just looks way too good. Now I can move on to...
I mean, yeah, it does. I have to agree. I'm just gently wiping off that excess blush from this brush. And I'm going to use this for my powder as well.
Now I can move on to some light setting powder. I'm taking this with a precise, dense brush and starting very lightly from the inner corners and around the eye, following the areas that I want to lift by creating more of a brighter appearance. So around the nose and the corners of the mouth and chin. I'm making sure I don't powder the areas where we've created the stunning layered glow. So definitely avoiding the cheeks and the outer parts of the face. I'm doing the very center of the forehead between the brows, keeping the rest of the forehead powder free. This also obviously depends on how oily or dry you are.
And boy am I oily. But I'm so grateful that he's actually using powder because so many of these celebrity makeup tutorials, they just don't use any. So a little around the nose, center of the face, under the eyes, avoiding the cheeks because we want the glow. I'm just going to do a little bit around the mouth, and then he said just between the brows and the forehead, but depending how oily you are. I'm very oily, but I'm loving the glowiness, so I don't want to go too hard. Let's just stop there.
And I like to powder the jawline too. That's also where we've done the most concealer.
Okay, I'm so glad he said that because if I don't powder my jawline, I feel like throughout the day I'll kind of like lean on it, or if you go to give someone a hug and you've not set around your jawline and you get makeup on their t-shirt or whatever, it's almost like he knows what he's doing.
I'm brushing the brows up and then using an ash brown pencil, I'm sketching the top of the brow using the slanted edge of the pencil and slowly filling in the brow using brow hair strokes and focusing on the tail of the brow. This is where I want the most precision. The closer I get to the front of the brow, I want to create brow strokes that are further spaced apart. Always making sure that the front of the brow is the lightest and most sparse.
That is also a great tip. We don't want the old-fashioned block brow that I used to love. I think I'm sometimes guilty of going a bit overboard on my eyebrows. I don't even necessarily mean the colour though. I mean just more like filling them in really boldly. And I try and go soft. I just get carried away. Then a bit of brow gel.
When I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to use a clear brow gel and brushing them into place.
I feel like I'm treating my face so much more delicately than normal because he's being so delicate about everything and precise. I'm like doing my brow gel like this. By the way, Heidlas has some of these brushes. Occasionally they pop up in his videos, but he does have a few of the Refa brushes.
With my color fluid in Carve, I'm using this again but on its own. Apply it on the eyes. This will create a seamless smudge-proof shadow.
I'm gonna just use the same things that I used on my cheeks. I'm gonna go for the 15 brush.
And I'm using it to contour and sculpt the eye. So along the lash line and the inner corners, blend it upwards. Diffusing it into the crease and blending it out.
I tend to avoid putting cream products on my eyelids just because I generally find powders a bit easier to work with, but whatever he's doing is working and it looks gorgeous.
Remember that this matches her bronzing skin shade because it's exactly what I used. So I can really diffuse it into the temples if I want to.
And then for my lower lash line, I'm gonna switch to one of my little pencil brushes just to get that precision. This is the 03.
I'm also going on the lower lash line, buffing it in and really smoking it out.
So he's using a dark brown cream. I think I'm going to use the 23 brush, which is the even smaller one. And oh my goodness, they make this brush, which is the 29 brush. Can you even see the end of this? It is the tiniest little eyeliner brush. It is so thin.
Then I'm taking my color fluid in the shade Thorn, a deep warm chocolate brown. And I'm placing this close to the lash line and blending in, creating a diffused eyeliner. I'm also following the blend of the eyeshadow to wing it out.
He just makes it look so easy. And then he's gently winging that out. How does that look so good? He's done quite a thick wing.
Taking my Monochromance gradient palette,
Just zoomed you in a tiny bit.
I'm using the shade Alter from the Alter Ego pan.
So just a creamy light beige eyeshadow to kind of blend everything together. I'm just going to pat out these creases quickly first. And then I'm going to switch to, let's do the 01 brush. And I'm just taking this creamy shade here.
And I'm blending all the tones into one another, creating a velvety feel. This will further enhance the blending of the browns that I'm going to use on top of this.
And then back to my little pencil brush.
Next, I'm going into Match Made and taking this neutral brown to map out and go over the darker brown areas.
You know what? I am going to use the 29 brush, the super precise one, just to make that sharp wing. This is the part that I'm scared for because I feel like I might mess it all up, but I'm going to take the 13 brush, which is a really teeny tiny blending brush, and I'm just going to very gently dip into that dark brown and then do what he's doing.
Taking a small fluffier brush, I'm taking that same color and I'm going to start diffusing it over that set liner that we've done. This time focusing on bringing that blend from the lash line into the crease.
Oh, I've used too much, haven't I?
Softly contouring the eye.
This eye is going better. He just makes everything look so easy. I have always found a smoky wing the hardest thing to do, and I don't know why. I've just never quite nailed it.
For the lower lash line, I really want to mimic that lifted wing that's happening on top. So using a very thin brown gel liner, I'm creating a small line on the outer corner and then blending it in with a detailed brush. Diffusing that line inwards and out, making sure to keep a gap between the upper wing and the lower wing.
He's done a little wing underneath as well, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I can pull that off. And then blending it out.
I'm individually placing medium and short lashes, focusing on the outer wing.
Okay, so no mention of mascara, literally just lashes. I think because my lashes are a little bit lighter and my lash tint is fading at the moment, I'm going to put on a tiny bit of mascara on my top lashes just to blend the lashes. And then he's putting on a mix of medium and long lashes, so I guess I'll do the same. My forehead is starting to shine. I just realised I forgot to curl my lashes. That was something I was going to show you because one of the Refa products in the concept store are the lash curlers, but they do them in different styles for different eye shapes, which is genius. And they say one size doesn't fit all, which is so true. So these ones are the 20R curvature lash curlers. And I have never had a lash curler that's opened this wide. Normally they open just like a tiny gap and you have to kind of wiggle your lashes into it, whereas this opens enough that I can fit my whole eyeball in between that gap. And because of the angle of it, again, some of my other lash colors, I was doing a little comparison because I tried these and was like, whoa, the angle of these fits your face so much better. So when you're doing this, you can get super close because that almost lays flat against your face. So I've just done one of the Lily Lashes individual clusters on the very outer corners and then some of the Kiss Falscara, the regular wisps in long and medium. So I've focused those lashes just on my outer corners. I just did 3. I think I look a bit odd with no lower lash line mascara, but he didn't do any, so I'm not going to do any.
And with a neutral nude lip liner, I'm lining her lips.
Iconic Nude, a classic.
Focusing on the outer edges and feathering inwards, keeping the center of the lips free. I focus more on adding depth to the outer corners.
I'm using the Max Factor Colour Elixir Soft Matte in Sand Cloud, which looks really similar to what he's using actually.
Now I'm going to be using a velvety lip formula.
A little bit of that and then
and tapping it into the lips.
Tap, 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 tap. Just tap it in. Is that from Happy Gilmore? Why is that in my brain?
Bringing back life to the lips by accentuating some of the folds and contours.
Ooh, okay.
So down the center of the lip and around the edges of the lip line.
I never do that. Does that look weird?
And that is my final look on Maria.
That's crazy how we're using the same lip pencil, but it looks completely different on me.
Everything is very enhanced and has a little something extra, but it's still somehow very subtle and dialed back. The soft velvety matte eyes and lips pair so beautifully with the skin that has a lit from within glow.
Everything on me overall just looks a little bit more cool toned. I think maybe I should have gone a bit warmer with the eyes, but at the time I was applying the shades, it looked similar to what he was using. So I was like, you know what, that's fine. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of a warmer eyeshadow. Gorgeous. So everything is very matte apart from the cheeks really, and I guess like the glowy bronzer. I normally would apply cream cheek products and then more powder cheek products on top. I don't know if it's too subtle with the bronzer and blush. However, I'm sure a lot of people will tell me like, no Soph, this looks great. Don't go overboard with the bronzer and blush. I've also got bronzer in my hair, I've just noticed. Great. Overall, I like how it's turned out. I think the eyes look very sultry. I don't think I quite nailed the smoky wing that he did. His looks perfection, but I did my best and he was definitely a good teacher. I don't know if that double wing suits me. I think I'd feel better if I had lower lash line mascara, but this was me creating Hindash's look. Let me know what you think. Does it look anything like what he's done? Kinda, maybe, no? Let me know. So definitely something a little bit different for me, similar to what I normally do, but definitely different techniques that were a little bit out of my comfort zone. But let me know what you think of the final look. I think Hindash is incredible. His makeup skills are just, he's perfect. He does everything with such precision. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I will link everything that I used down below. And if you would like to check out the Refa brushes, then those will also be linked in the description box. And thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys are having a lovely day and I will see you in my next video.